Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
Hi, everyone. My name is Catherine.
What do you got, Catherine, for us today?
That's a good question. Well, we've got a little bit of a Seinfeld situation. So, for those of you who are not familiar with this American TV show, which, by the way, is one of my favorites, Seinfeld is a TV show, a comedy about very awkward, very common situations that are taken to the extreme.
Right, so it's a very popular show. It was around for like 10 years, I think.
Yeah.
And but it's not airing anymore. Well, they're not making new episodes anymore.
No, you have to see them in reruns.
Reruns, right? So we have a situation that's very common. It was pretty funny on the show. It's a guy trying to rent a car.
Okay, so he's probably at the airport or traveling, and he's had a long flight and he wants to rent a car, but of course there are some problems. So This is an elementary level lesson, by the way, so keep that in mind as we listen to this dialogue one time.
Hi, I made a reservation for a mid-sized vehicle. The name is Jimmy Fox.
I'm sorry. We have no midsize available at the moment.
I don't understand. I made a reservation. Do you have my reservation?
Yes, we do. Unfortunately, we ran out of cars.
But the reservation keeps the car here. That's why you have the reservation.
I know why we have reservations.
I don't think you do. If you did, I'd have a car. See, you know how to take the reservation. You just don't know how to hold the reservation. And that's really the most important part of the reservation, the holding. Anybody can just take them.
But we do have a compact or an SUV if you'd like.
Fine. I'll take the compact.
All right. We have a blue Ford Focus for you, Mr. Fox. Would you like insurance?
Yeah, you better give me the insurance because I'm gonna beat the hell out of this car.
All right, great. So this actually happens a lot. You make a reservation and either they lose it or they run out of cars. It's such a common situation.
And it's not just cars. Sometimes this happens at restaurants too, and it really makes me angry.
Yeah, that happens a lot. You show up and they're like, oh, we don't have a reservation. And you're just like...
Well, then you have to keep yourself in check. You can't really get angry. But this guy does. So let's take a look at the language takeaway to find out what are some of the words we're using here to describe renting a car and what kind of car we're talking about.
Language takeaway.
Well, as you mentioned, at rental places, they have different size cars, right? Different size vehicles.
Which, by the way, costs different prices.
Right. So let's take a look at the sizes that they mentioned in dialogue. Starting with the cheapest one, the least expensive, and the smallest, it's a compact vehicle.
All right, compact. So compact actually means small.
Small.
Right, so compact car you're going to hear very often, even if you're buying a car. Let's think of what's a compact car? The VW Golf is a compact car, very small car.
So usually it's 2 doors, or if it's a 4-door car, it's very small, not very long, right?
Right, exactly.
So maybe like a Ford Focus could be a small car,
also
a compact. Now moving up in size a little bit, we would have a mid-size vehicle.
Okay, mid-size vehicle is, it's a giveaway here because mid means middle. So it's kind of in the middle between the small and the large. And this is your average 4-door sedan car.
Okay, so as an example, you would have a Ford Taurus or maybe a Toyota Camry.
Yeah, Toyota Camry is maybe the most common car. Yeah, definitely.
It's kind of expensive, but it's still mid-size, right?
Exactly.
And now a bigger car, and probably one of the most popular cars in the United States, is an SUV.
Not anymore, Marco.
I know.
With the energy crisis and the
gas prices.
And the economy as well. People are not driving their SUVs anymore. But SUV is an acronym. That means it stands for 3 different words. S meaning
sports.
U meaning
utility.
V
vehicle.
All right, thank you. So SUV, sport utility vehicle, means it can go maybe off-road.
Right. So an example of this would be a Ford Explorer or
Jeep Cherokee.
a Jeep Cherokee could be an SUV as well. So, right, those are three different types of cars. Now, obviously, there are many more, like a van or a
limo,
like a limousine. But yeah, these are the most common ones that you would rent at a car rental place.
Yeah, definitely. But what we have to do here is make a reservation.
Now, interesting, you make a reservation.
Yeah, you don't have it. You don't do it.
You make it.
Yeah, you make these are words that go together. So we're going to keep them together. I can call a restaurant. So say, for example, Marco works at a restaurant. I say, hello, I'd like to make a reservation for tonight.
Oh, okay, perfect. Now, if you show up at the restaurant, you say,
where's my table? I made a reservation.
right.
And of course, I throw a fit because there's no
They don't
table
have
for
it.
me. So you make a reservation, and in this case, it was made before.
Okay, so you make a reservation. Now, why was this guy angry at the rental car place?
Oh, long story short, the company ran out of cars.
Okay.
Not all cars, just the car that he wanted,
Right.
the mid-size vehicle.
So they ran out. So that doesn't mean they're actually running somewhere.
No, they're not putting on their running shoes and going for a jog. No, in this case, to run out, or in this case, we ran out, means that they don't have any more.
You don't have any more. Exactly. I think this word is a nice word for us to take a look at some other examples now.
Example 1. We're going to run out of gasoline. You need to find a gas station soon. Example 2.
Can you buy some milk on your way home? We ran out last night.
Example 3. My pen ran out of ink. Can you lend me one, please?
Not a fun phrase, but an important one in case you're ever in a restaurant or in a hotel or in a place where you can purchase something or rent something and it's all gone.
All right. So I think we've taken a look at a lot of great words here. So let's listen to this dialogue again. We're going to slow it down just a little bit and then we'll come back and explain some phrases.
Hi, I made a reservation for a mid-sized vehicle. The name is Jimmy Fox.
I'm sorry. We have no midsize available at the moment.
I don't understand. I made a reservation. Do you have my reservation?
Yes, we do. Unfortunately, we ran out of cars.
But the reservation keeps the car here. That's why you have the reservation.
I know why we have reservations.
I don't think you do. If you did, I'd have a car. See, you know how to take the reservation. You just don't know how to hold the reservation. And that's really the most important part of the reservation, the holding. Anybody can just take them.
But we do have a compact or an SUV if you'd like.
Fine. I'll take the compact.
All right. We have a blue Ford Focus for you, Mr. Fox. Would you like insurance?
Yeah, you better give me the insurance because I'm going to beat the hell out of this car.
And we're back. So, Marco, we've got a couple phrases here that deserve some attention. So let's take a look at them in today's Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
So the first phrase that I want to take a look at is when the agent says, "I'm sorry, we have no midsize available at the moment."
Okay, so do they or do they not have any?
But yeah, she says we have no midsize.
Okay, so another way to say this is we haven't got any.
Or we don't have any.
Okay, but in this case, you can just simplify it and say we have no. Why wouldn't you say we have none?
Good question. Why?
Because we need a thing here. We have no cars. We have no cake. We have no food. So this is a very common phrase in English. And remember to put the thing at the end. So,
So, for example, can I say I have no money?
absolutely. I'm so
Right.
sorry, Marco, but I'm not going to lend you.
I have no money. Seriously, lend me some money. So we have no. This is interesting because this is not a structure that is usually learned through textbooks, right? You usually say I don't have or we haven't got.
Exactly. This is very spoken because you would never say I go no.
Right, exactly.
Right? We have to talk about something that we that has an object, something that we have. So here, I have no is very spoken, very common. It's got another phrase that is also not taught so much in those textbooks that we were just mentioning. So what's that phrase at the end?
Well,
Threat. It's a threat. The guy is so angry, he leans over the counter and he points his finger in the agent's face. And what does he say?
He says, yeah, you better give me the insurance.
You better.
You better.
All right, so you better than me?
No, it's not like better, like something is good, right? You'd better is like a suggestion, but a very strong one.
Okay,
Right?
very strong. This is a threat.
But yeah, it's
You better eat your dinner or I'm going to send you to your room. All
exactly.
night. Yeah.
So as you can see, he says you better give me the insurance, but the grammatically correct way would be
you had better.
you had better. So the contraction would be you'd better.
Exactly. You had better do this. So this is it's a hypothetical situation. You had better do this. If you don't do this, bad things will happen. So
Right.
remember that here we've got the grammatically correct form that you should write, you'd better, or the spoken form, you better.
You better. I think in this one, we should also listen to some other examples to get a better idea of how we can use this very strong suggestion.
Example 1.
You better go to the doctor before that cold gets any worse.
Example 2. You better watch out. It's dangerous to go out this late. Example 3.
She better change her attitude, or her boss is going to fire her.
So what is the threat? You better give me insurance because what is he going to do?
He says, I'm gonna beat the hell out of this car.
Okay, so this is future. I'm gonna
Right?
beat the hell out of this car. So this is very strong, right?
Yeah, it's very strong. And he's saying he is going to destroy the car.
So beat the hell out of, so that means really just do damage to something.
So you can use it out towards a person also. It's like, I'm going to beat the hell out of you.
And I'll arrest you for violence.
Right. So it's a very strong phrase. It shows anger. It shows that you are threatening somebody. So it's not polite.
And it might get you a broken nose in a bar if you ever say this to someone or about someone. So be very careful.
Right, but you can use it to describe a situation, right? He's like, yeah, we went to a bar yesterday and Dan beat the hell out of the bartender. Right?
Man.
So instead of just saying Dan hit the bartender or Dan got into a fight, you're saying he hit him and he
kept hitting him and kept hitting him and kept hitting him. So
Right.
yeah, he beat the hell out of him.
Right.
All right, great. So those are the phrases and words that we wanted to talk about today. But I think it'd be good if we listen to this dialogue one more time just to get a good feel for it. When we come back, we'll be talking a little bit more about the process of renting a car.
Hi, I made a reservation for a mid-sized vehicle. The name is Jimmy Fox.
I'm sorry. We have no midsize available at the moment.
I don't understand. I made a reservation. Do you have my reservation?
Yes, we do. Unfortunately, we ran out of cars.
But the reservation keeps the car here. That's why you have the reservation.
I know why we have reservations.
I don't think you do. If you did, I'd have a car. See, you know how to take the reservation. You just don't know how to hold the reservation. And that's really the most important part of the reservation, the holding. Anybody can just take them.
But we do have a compact or an SUV if you'd like.
Fine. I'll take the compact.
All right. We have a blue Ford Focus for you, Mr. Fox. Would you like insurance?
Yeah, you better give me the insurance because I'm gonna beat the hell out of this car.
You know, I heard that in Florida or in certain cities of California and Florida, you can actually rent luxury cars.
Oh yeah, you can do that in most places.
You can rent like a
Porsche.
Porsche or a Lamborghini or a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Obviously, it costs a lot of money, but it gives you the opportunity to maybe drive one of these cars that you obviously wouldn't have the money to buy.
Yeah, especially if you're talking about those warm places like Florida, California, you want to be in the sunshine, you get a convertible.
You got to
Right.
get a convertible.
Yeah, so I think the insurance premiums on those particular cars are very high, though. So you're not only paying
Yeah.
for the car, but you're also paying for the insurance and possibly the speeding tickets.
Yeah, of course. I can't imagine renting one of those cars and not getting a speeding ticket.
Exactly. So, if any of you out there have experience renting cars or you have some questions about the specifics that are involved in this process, let us know on our website, Englishpod.com.
Right, we're there to answer any questions or doubts, and we'll see you guys there.
All right. Until next time, everyone. Bye.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. To make an arrangement to hold something for later.
Make a reservation.
To make arrangements for later.
Book.
To not have any.
Have no.
The protection that is offered by an insurance policy.
Coverage.
Contract signed with details of car rental.
Rental agreement.
To have no more.
Run out.
You should.
You better.
To leave money when you rent a car and that you get back if you return the car in good condition.
Leave a deposit.
To purposefully abuse something.
Beat the hell out of.
A medium-sized car.
Mid-size vehicle.
The amount of money to be paid per day the car is rented.
Daily rate.
At the present time.
At the moment.
A small car.
Compact.
Sport utility vehicle.
SUV.
Protection from costs of accidental damage.
Insurance.
Let's try that faster. To make an arrangement to hold something for later.
Make a reservation.
Contract signed with details of car rental.
Rental agreement.
To not have any.
Have no.
A small car.
Compact.
At the present time.
At the moment.
Sport utility vehicle.
SUV.
To have no more.
Run out.
The protection that is offered by an insurance policy.
Coverage.
The amount of money to be paid per day the car is rented.
Daily rate.
A medium-sized car.
Mid-size vehicle.
Protection from costs of accidental damage.
Insurance.
You should.
You better.
To purposefully abuse something.
Beat the hell out of.
To make arrangements for later.
Book.
To leave money when you rent a car and that you get back if you return the car in good condition.
Leave a deposit.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Make a reservation. I've made a dinner reservation at our favorite restaurant for tomorrow night. Make a reservation. I'm sorry, sir. You need to make a reservation in order to eat here. Make a reservation. Many hotels now offer a service where you can make an online reservation. Have no. You have no right to tell me what to do. Have no. We have no electricity in the building. Have no. Susan has no money since she lost her job. Run out. We're going to run out of gasoline. You need to find a gas station soon. Run out. Can you buy some milk on your way home? We ran out last night. Run out. My pen ran out of ink. Can you lend me one, please? You better. You better go to the doctor before that cold gets any worse. You better. You better watch out. It's dangerous to go out this late. You better. She better change her attitude or her boss is going to fire her. Beat the hell out of. Our team beat the hell out of the other team last week in the game. Beat the hell out of. If you ever do that again, I'm gonna beat the hell out of you. Beat the hell out of. Did you see that? That dog just beat the hell out of that poor cat.
Yeah, so we're looking at chess, a very old, very popular sport, very difficult to play as well.
It takes a lot of practice, and believe me, it's frustrating at the beginning, and I'm still kind of in the beginning, intermediate stages. But yeah, it takes a lot of practice, and it takes a lot of time to familiarize yourself with the rules.
Right.
So we're going to be learning a little bit more about the pieces and the rules today.
Okay, perfect. So we're not going to preview anything. Let's listen to the dialogue for the first time, and then we'll come back and talk about the sport.
Bobby, come here. Look what I got you.
What is that?
A chessboard. Daddy's gonna teach you how to play.
Cool.
Okay. Each player gets 16 pieces. You can be the white ones, and I'll play with the black pieces. Now in the front, you set up the pawns. Those are the least valuable pieces, and can only move one space forward. When you're about to capture another piece, it can move one space diagonally.
What about all these other pieces?
See this one that looks like a tower? It's called the rook. The one with the tall hat is called the bishop. See this little horsey? This is called the knight. It's a very important piece, so it's best not to let your opponent capture it.
And these two? They are husband and wife.
That's right. That's the queen, and that's the king. If the other player captures your king, he will say, checkmate, and the game is over. Doesn't this sound fun?
Nah, this sounds boring. I'm gonna go play Killer Zombies on my PlayStation.
All right, so the kid is obviously not very interested in learning how to play chess.
Not at all. You know, the art of these kind of slower games might be replaced very soon by video games.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't really appeal to a little 9-year-old or 10-year-old instead of, playing something like this versus, shooting.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a very great game. It's very difficult, like we mentioned. So we're going to look at the name of the pieces and the rules that are related to these pieces in Language Takeaway.
Language takeaway.
Well, the first one you might have heard before because this is a word that is often used in strategy in general. So the word pawn.
A pawn.
A pawn usually means something that is not very important that you can use to distract an opponent.
All right, so on the chessboard you have 8 pawns. So these are the ones that you have the most, but their movement is very limited. So
That's
they
right.
can only move 2 spaces forward on the first move, right?
Right, or one space after that.
1 space forward. And only when it's going to capture another piece can it move diagonally.
All right, so you can't just go diagonally. You have to go forward until you're going to take another person's piece to capture it and to go diagonally.
All right.
But pawns is funny. You can also use this word when you're talking about other things, like he used her as a pawn in his little game.
No.
So you want to make an analogy, you want to make a comparison from life to these games, you can use the word pawn.
Pawn. Very good. Now moving on to the other pieces on the chessboard. On the very far ends of the board, you have the rook.
Okay, you got 2 of these, and
Right.
they kind of look like towers from a castle. And it's they're very important pieces, and
Very
actually my
important.
favorite pieces, because they're not very important at the beginning of a game, but at the end of a game, boom, 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 you can do a lot of damage because they can go anywhere in straight lines.
Right, so they can go forward, backwards, and to the sides, as many spaces as they want.
The whole board, if
The
they
whole
want.
board.
Yeah, so easy pieces to forget about at the beginning, but they're very important.
And now, next to the rook, we have the bishop.
Okay, this is very different from the rook because the bishop can also go anywhere, but they can only go diagonally.
Right, so only diagonally. They can also move 4 directions, but diagonally, right?
Exactly. So you can go forward and backward, but it has to be at a diagonal slanted line.
Okay. And now, next to the bishop, we have the knight.
Ooh, the knight. So he's the one galloping on the horse, like those old stories of King Arthur we used to hear. But the knight can go in an L shape, and I've never
Exactly.
understood this. But
It's weird. So it can move 2 spaces forward and then 1 to the right or 1 to the left. Or it can move 2 spaces to the right and then 1 forward. So it's very strange, but it always has to move 3 spaces and in the shape of an L.
so I thought maybe he was the drunken piece. He can go forward a little bit, then thump thump. He kind
falls
of
to the
moves to the side.
Right, so that's the knight. It's actually a very, very important piece as well. And now the 2 main pieces maybe of the chessboard, the queen and king.
So the king is kind of sad. He can only move one space, but the queen is really the killer because she can do anything she wants.
This is interesting, right? Why do they make it like that? The queen can move as many spaces as she wants in any direction. While the king can do the same any direction he wants, but only one space. I think there's some similarity between real life now. It's like the queen can do anything she wants and the king can kind of do whatever he wants.
Well, maybe it has to do with the fact that he has to stay put and represent the country, and she can move around and move behind the scenes and has a little bit more mobility.
Maybe.
Who knows?
So, but in the end, the most important piece is the king, right? Once the king is captured, the game is over.
Exactly. So let's listen to today's dialogue one more time and slow it down a bit and find out if the boy understood any of these rules.
Bobby, come here. Look what I got you.
What is that?
A chessboard. Daddy's gonna teach you how to play.
Cool.
Okay. Each player gets 16 pieces. You can be the white ones, and I'll play with the black pieces. Now in the front, you set up the pawns. Those are the least valuable pieces, and can only move one space forward. When you're about to capture another piece, it can move one space diagonally.
What about all these other pieces?
See this one that looks like a tower? It's called the rook. The one with the tall hat is called the bishop. See this little horsey? This is called the knight. It's a very important piece, so it's best not to let your opponent capture it.
And these two? They are husband and wife.
That's right. That's the queen, and that's the king. If the other player captures your king, he will say, checkmate, and the game is over. Doesn't this sound fun?
Nah, this sounds boring. I'm gonna go play Killer Zombies on my PlayStation.
All right, we're back. And now why don't we explain a couple of these phrases that we also use to explain the pieces. But let's look at some of these more in depth now in Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
So, Marco, one of the first phrases that we heard was the word was the phrase to move diagonally or a diagonal line, and so the pawns can sometimes do this, and the bishop can do this. But what does it mean to move diagonally?
Okay, so basically a diagonal line is not a line that goes straight up, right? Straight up to the sky, for example, or to the side. Right? It goes at an angle, so it's maybe going at 45 degrees or 30 degrees. So that's a diagonal movement or a diagonal line.
Exactly. The next phrase we have is very strange, and this one you might hear from parents or children.
He says a little horsey.
Little horsey. So, in many languages, we have ways of breaking down words or adding to words to make them sound cuter. And this is one of those cases. So, for example, little puppy or little kitty or kitten. These are words to make things sound cuter. So, in this case, horse becomes horsey.
Horsey. So I want to ride the horsey. It's a cute way of saying I want to ride the cute horse.
Mommy, I want to ride the horsey.
Exactly.
So baby talk often involves having these rhyming words. Mommy, horsey, doggy, puppy.
A doggy, exactly. Very good. So it's a cute way of saying something. And now when we were talking about the chess pieces, when another piece takes or gets a piece, you say it captures it.
Okay, we say capture because, well, maybe it's a bit nicer than killing it, but
Yeah.
capture means taking and keeping for yourself. So we have a very popular game in America called Capture the Flag.
Right, where you have to take each other's flag, right?
You're stealing.
You're stealing.
essentially.
So yeah, this is the term that is used in chess to capture another piece. Sometimes, like for example, in Spanish, we actually say like to eat the other piece.
Really?
Yeah, you eat it. That's weird.
Well, we're a little bit more tame game
Yeah.
in those English-speaking countries, but to capture is a very important phrase, and you're going to hear that in the news as well, because you can capture a person.
You can capture a criminal. All right. And the final word and the way that you end a game of chess, you say checkmate.
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 So the game's over. Checkmate.
Well, there's two things that can happen at the end of a game, and only one thing can happen at the very end of a game. But you're going to hear these two phrases. The one is check, and the other is checkmate. So check means that I can take your king if I want to. Move.
Right. It's in danger.
It's in danger. But checkmate is the end all. This means this is the very, very last part of a game where you cannot do anything. I've trapped you, and I win.
Right. Very good. So the game is over when somebody says checkmate. Why don't we listen to this dialogue for the last time, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about this very interesting game.
Bobby, come here. Look what I got you.
What is that?
A chessboard. Daddy's gonna teach you how to play.
Cool.
Okay. Each player gets 16 pieces. You can be the white ones, and I'll play with the black pieces. Now in the front, you set up the pawns. Those are the least valuable pieces, and can only move one space forward. When you're about to capture another piece, it can move one space diagonally.
What about all these other pieces?
See this one that looks like a tower? It's called the rook. The one with the tall hat is called the bishop. See this little horsey? This is called the knight. It's a very important piece, so it's best not to let your opponent capture it.
And these two? They are husband and wife.
That's right. That's the queen, and that's the king. If the other player captures your king, he will say, checkmate, and the game is over. Doesn't this sound fun?
Nah, this sounds boring. I'm gonna go play Killer Zombies on my PlayStation.
Pop quiz, Marco.
All right.
The word check and the word mate. They both have meanings in English, but put together, what is this? Where does this phrase come from? What could it possibly mean?
I have no idea. Why don't you tell us? Because I seriously don't know where it comes from.
Okay, well, this is actually very interesting because I looked it up and I had no idea either because we've always just said this.
Right.
And it doesn't really make sense. So I looked it up on the internet and I discovered that the game of chess is actually a very ancient game. And it did not come from England. It did not come from France. It actually came from Persia. And in Persian, there are some words that kind of became the English words checkmate that mean the king is captured or the king is defeated. Right?
Okay. So that's what it means. It doesn't mean the king is dead.
No, it doesn't mean that he's dead. It means that he's been taken.
Okay.
And so over time, the Persian word went into Arabic, and Arabic became French and English, and then now we say checkmate.
Checkmate. Okay, interesting. This is a very interesting word, and I'm sure everybody that's listening has a different translation for it in their own language. I know, for example, that in Spanish, we would say jaque mate.
Jaque mate.
Right. So I guess like jaque is something's in check, it's in danger, and then mate kind of like kill. So maybe it's probably not translated properly because as you mentioned, it should mean defeated or captured, not killed. So listeners, why don't you let us know how you say checkmate in your language? Come to our website, Englishpod.com.
And also tell us if you have questions about the things we talked about today, or if you want to share some stories of your own chess victories. Please get in touch with us on our website. Otherwise, you can email us at englishpod@praxislanguage.com. But until then, have a great day. Bye, everyone.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. On a diagonal, forward and to the left or right. Diagonally. A game in which each player moves 16 pieces across a board and tries to capture the opponent's king. Chess. The final and most important piece in chess.
King.
Make ready for use.
Set up.
A very powerful piece in chess.
Queen.
Very useful or helpful.
Valuable.
A useful piece in chess.
Knight.
To take.
Capture.
A piece in chess that can only move diagonally.
Bishop.
The weakest piece in chess, a person or group without much power.
Pawn.
Not interesting.
Boring.
A piece in chess that can only move along straight lines.
Rook.
Describe situation in which king cannot move.
Checkmate.
Let's try that faster. Not interesting.
Boring.
A useful piece in chess.
Knight.
The final and most important piece in chess.
King.
Describe situation in which king cannot move.
Checkmate.
A game in which each player moves 16 pieces across a board and tries to capture the opponent's king.
Chess.
A very powerful piece in chess.
Queen.
To take.
Capture.
Make ready for use.
Set up.
The weakest piece in chess, a person or group without much power.
Pawn.
A piece in chess that can only move diagonally.
Bishop.
On a diagonal, forward and to the left or right.
Diagonally.
Very useful or helpful.
Valuable.
A piece in chess that can only move along straight lines.
Rook.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Diagonally. Susan lives diagonally across the street from us. Diagonally. The bishop is a piece that can move diagonally as many spaces as it wants. Diagonally. Diane sits diagonally from me at work. Set up. Help me set up my new home theater system. Set up. We can't work today because the workers are setting up the network. Set up. We are setting everything up for the party tonight. It's gonna be fun. Valuable. His house was furnished with valuable antique furniture. Valuable. The witness provided valuable information which led to the apprehension of the murderer. Valuable. All my valuables were stolen from my home last night. Capture. Oh no! You captured my queen. Capture. I've captured almost all your pieces. You will lose. Capture. I can't believe the police finally captured that murderer. Pawn. Germania was an underdeveloped nation that was a pawn in international politics. Pawn. The pawn is the least valuable piece on the chessboard, but it is a very important piece. Pawn. He used Sherry as a pawn in his evil game.